Thank you very much, Ronen. As always, this is a pleasure, and I'm very happy to be here with you this evening. So our discussion tonight will focus on the politics in South America and how it can reflect the Israeli interest. So when we are talking here, we just can see the thing in a big frame, and beside that, we can go and see the higher resolution. I would start with the fact that for many years we used to think about Latin America as a pink tide. Leftist governments, some of them, maybe I should say many of them, were very critical against Israel. And today, the puzzle is dramatically changed. Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and other countries, they moved to the right or to the center right. And only yesterday, the new president in Colombia was sworn from the right wing. Abelardo de la Esparia, and in Chile, we already have Jose Antonio Cast. But the main point is that Israel should not be happy just because the right wing is winning. Israel should understand why this change creates new mutual interest, and I even would say joint interests. Let's take Argentina as a model, and of course the president, Javier Milei. Milei is much more than a president who likes Israel. He made his support of Israel as part of wider perspectives of freedom, pro-West, countering terrorism, and resistance to anti-Semitism. And he declared the moving of the Argentinian embassy to Jerusalem in 2026. And just last April, President Milei and the Prime Minister Netanyahu launched the Isaac Accords, which is a new frame that specifically was designated or is designated to extend the cooperation between Israel, Argentina, and similar countries in the Western Hemisphere in fields like, again, fighting terrorism, anti-Semitism, fighting drugs, promoting technologies, trade, innovation, and coordination in international forums. Maybe we will speak about that a bit later too. Argentina may be the laboratory, but it should not be the exception, which means the Israeli challenges is to make what happened with Milei from personal relationship to an regional architecture. We saw the good relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu. We also saw the very, very impressive chemistry between President Milei and Chairman of Knesset Amir Ohana. But now we should see how we take this good atmosphere, personal atmosphere that was created by the Israeli leadership, and we may transfer this to policy. As we already see that happens, and I have to give compliments to Prime Minister Netanyahu and his government, and also to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Gideon Saar. But if we would like to make this to upgrade this from good personal relationship and to continue to build the regional architecture, we should understand first why the new right wing in South America is closer to Israel. So I would think that we have here four main reasons. First of all, always security. South America faces organized crime, cartels. There's the challenge of the borders and the terror. So the security is a major subject in the Latin America politics. Besides Iran, Israel brings experience and intelligence versus the establishment of Iran and its proxies in the Western Hemisphere. And even we can see a specific mentioning of that in the Isaac Accords that I mentioned before. Affiliation with the West. Part of the right wing in South America can see Israel not just as Middle Eastern project, but also a Western country fighting the enemies of the democratic world order. And last thing, maybe religion and values. In many parts of Latin America, there is a evangelist Christian public, major public, and the attitude of these publics, the evangelistic Christian publics, their attitude toward Israel is very different compared to the radical left that used to prevail in these countries until recently. But let's not make this a romantic story, and this is very important to say. Israel should welcome friends on the right, but Israel must never outsource its foreign policy to one political camp. If we can choose, not always we can, but if we can choose, we should always remember to preserve the relations with as many as possible wings of foreign countries' politics, because governments replace each other, and if Israel would be completely identified with the local right wing in South America, it can lose in the next elections everything she built. Maybe now we don't have the left. We know the attitude of the left toward Israel. But now what we should do is to use this window of opportunity to establish the relations for the next generation, even when we will have next time a leftist government. So we should sign agreements. We should promote trade. We should deepen the cooperation regarding security, the cooperation between the parliaments, with the academy, with the civil society, and the public diplomacy, the relations between the civil societies, the civic societies of both countries. So again, the left wing is skeptic regarding Israel, but now with the right wing, we should build the network of the relationships that will serve our interest also when the left wing will sooner or later come back and will return to prevail in this country or another. So what Israel can earn or can how to say, which benefits can be to Israel practically. So let's go from ideology to practice. First of all, we can have votes in the international institutions like the UN and the other multinational organizations. I just said this before. We can promote our and work on mutual security, for example, cyber protection of borders, intelligence, counterterrorism, fighting against organized crime, etc. We should focus on the economy, Israeli technologies in the fields of water, agriculture, energy, health, fintech, cyber, etc. Public diplomacy, as I said, building pro-Israeli groups that would not be depend only in the Jewish communities. And one of the tragic mistakes of Israel's public diplomacy is that Israel always again and again repeat the mistake and build its public diplomacy almost only on the Jewish community, which is, let's say it also a little bit not politically correct, not always the best actor in this field. Because just for example, when we had the biggest massacre after the Holocaust on October 7th, you saw the Jewish communities protest by grieving and not express enough anger. With the lie of genocide in Gaza, you could see how much anger we faced. And with the real tragedy of October 7th, the main demonstration, pro-Israel demonstration, was always or almost always the memorial ceremony. This is something that I could not could not understand, and I still this makes me very upset because with all the good meanings, the result was that we are grieving. We are not angry. Whom will change its policies to support Israel because someone is grieving and not because the voter in the West is angry? I don't know. Going back to the practice, Jerusalem, we must make and to continue making the Argentinian step as to a wider process of diplomatic recognition. And this is something that this government is doing. And wider American alliance, Israel, US, and South America or Latin America with pro-America orientation. So here we can say that Israel should not look at Latin America as a collection of votes at the UN. It should look at it as a strategic hemisphere. This is maybe the key point of my talk, my conversation with you today. But before we finish, I just would like to add that there is also a lesson here for us in Israel. Foreign policy begins with understanding that national interests are larger than domestic political disagreements. We Israelis can disagree passionately amongst ourselves, but when we look outward, whether to Latin America, Europe, or the United States, we need to know what our national interests are, who are our friends, and how to build durable alliance. And I would finish by saying that a mature country knows how to argue at home and act together abroad. To conclude, so does the rise of the right of South America benefit Israel? Yes, potentially, widely, but elections create opportunities. Diplomacy and public diplomacy turns up, and business, by the way. I'm practice now corporate diplomacy. So all kinds of diplomacy turns opportunities into alliances. Israel's task now is not simply to celebrate the election of friends. It is to build a network of relationships strong enough to survive the day when our friends are no longer in office. That's my message. That was my message to you on this beautiful night in the Galilee, very close to the Lebanese border and to the Syrian border, here from Amuka village, close to the holy city of Tzfat. And if there are no further questions, I would tell you, I would say thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you again, Ronen, and see you soon.